Recently, I got a new iPad, and one of my favorite things to do is check out its design specs. I mean, it's an amazing feeling to peel off that new layer of plastic and just take everything in about this new piece of technology, everything it can do. Technology is designed, and designed things are purposeful. Similarly, when a new baby enters the world, it comes with certain design specs that tell us a lot about what we as humans are made for. For example, when babies are born, their eyes can only focus 7 to 9 inches away, which incidentally is about the distance between a parent's arms and their face. Our eyes are also on the very front of our heads, which is way less advantageous for watching predators sneak up from behind us, but way more advantageous for having normal face-to-face conversations. Even some of our limitations tell us about what we're designed for. A baby horse can gallop within 24 hours of being born. By contrast, a human baby doesn't do anything truly useful for almost a decade and a half or more. Am I right, parents? Wink, nudge. They're just completely dependent on their parents. But the complete dependency of children on their parents in the long development stage of humanity is meant to create incredibly close emotional and psychological bonds between parents and children, grandparents, siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins. Our profound dependency on each other is actually a unique gift. It gives us the gift of family. All of humanity's design specs point us towards one thing. We were created for relationships. C.S. Lewis has a great analogy for the way that humanity is interconnected. He writes, human beings look separate because you see them walking around separately, but then we are only made that we can see the present moment. If we could see the past, then of course it would look different. If you could see humanity spread out in time as God sees it, it would look like one single growing organism, much like a complicated tree. Every individual would appear connected to every other one. Even stretched through time, we are not, as we sometimes want to believe, just individuals, but rather deeply interconnected. Our relationship is one of the ways we reflect God, who in the three persons of the Trinity has always existed in community. People in culture are hurting right now for a sense of community. In our individualistic culture, we're told to look within to find our own meaning, but people are falling through the cracks. Statistics tell us that rates of loneliness in adults have doubled since 1980. Health insurer Cigna, for example, took a nationwide survey of 20,000 adults in the US and found that 54% of respondents said they feel like no one actually knows them well. If you feel isolated, you're not alone. The modern era, for all its emphasis on connection, has created circumstances ripe for loneliness. We'll never understand our need for community or our pain when we go without it unless we remember that one of our primary purposes in life is relationship. This is because bearing the image of God is a team sport. If you want to see humanity's collective purpose, what we first have to do is look at God Himself, and then we'll see the ways that we all mirror Him. For example, God creates. He organizes. He brings order out of chaos. He relates. He walks with humanity in the cool of the garden. God empowers others. He celebrates goodness. He commits for the long haul. He fights for justice. God protects innocence, forgives His enemies, stays faithful, loves passionately, and listens deeply. We are made to do all of these things, and we're made to do them together. If you've ever worked really, really hard as a team to accomplish something, you know just how good it can feel. One of my favorite jobs ever was at a Christian conference center called Summit Ministries near my home in Colorado. In between my freshman and sophomore year of college, I went and essentially washed dishes for an entire summer. And can I tell you, I loved every minute of it. Now I have to tell you, the sights and smells that I experienced while washing all those dishes were not always pretty, especially when we cleaned out expired food from the refrigerator. But I loved it. Why? Because not only did I love my coworkers, but because together we were reflecting the image of God by feeding massive groups of people, by scrubbing each of those dishes clean. We were bringing order to chaos. Christians are called the body of Christ because now we have a collective purpose. Just like Christ served and bound up wounds, we're to serve the lost and the lonely. Like Brennan Manning says, compassionate love is the axis of the Christian moral revolution and the only sign ever given by Jesus in which a disciple would be recognized. But Christians are also called the bride of Christ because together we are people Christ delights in. Weddings are amazing moments because they involve a celebration where two people's only job for the moment is just to delight in each other. If you've been washed clean in Jesus, then that's how He sees you, as someone simply to delight in. Likewise, this is how we are to see each other. Humanity's relational purpose lies at the center of what we were made to do.